A new era is dawning at the University of Manitoba's School of Art and at the Desautels Faculty of Music. The school announced a new dean will be stepping in to head up both departments. That dean is Dr. Stephen Runge, currently positioned at Mount Allison University in Sackville, New Brunswick. Dr. Runge joins us from Mount Allison University to tell us more about his plans for the future at the University of Manitoba and what he brings to the university's prestigious programming. Dr. Runge, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Nolan. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
So before we really dive into those future plans that I alluded to, for those who might not be familiar with you and your work, what are you bringing into the University of Manitoba? Where are you coming from, and what are some of the things that you specialize in?
Yeah, I'm a classical pianist and have been on faculty at Mount Allison University in New Brunswick for the last 18 years, 11 of which I've spent as the head of the music department. So I bring quite a significant amount of experience in terms of running a department, holding events and concerts and attracting students to our very fine program here. So, Mount Allison is a very small university, but is a mighty one and has one of the oldest music departments in Canada. So certainly, like the University of Manitoba, we're building here in a very strong reputation. And I'm very happy to be moving into a position where I can continue to do so in Winnipeg.
When you first took over that position at Mount Allison, what were some of the challenges that you encountered in your first maybe years of administration work? And what sorts of things are you looking out for as you start your tenure here at U of M as a result?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think something that universities are dealing with across the country, and not just in music and art, certainly is the need to have consistent funding. Some of that's coming from governments. It's coming from tuition revenue. So certainly recruitment and maintaining the quality of our programs in a time when demographics are not always favoring strong admissions, especially here in Atlantic Canada. But I know that's the case for many parts of the country. And also, when the money coming from government is not always at the level that we would hope here in the academic world that it might be. So certainly that has been a challenge here at Mount Allison, and I think throughout the country in all areas. Luckily here at Mount A, we've been able to, in my first few years, one of the real initiatives we had was to increase our recruitment, increase our enrollment, and we managed to do that by a bunch of initiatives, reaching out farther into the community maybe than had been done before, really engaging our alumni support. Who are some of the best advertisements for a university program is successful alumni who have fond memories of their studies and can then recommend the next generation of students to follow in their footsteps. And we were really able to kind of maintain the level and even increase the level of our program due to some really wonderful donations. And again, this is another parallel, I think, to the University of Manitoba that has obviously benefited so wonderfully from the wonderful donation by Marcel Desautels, which has enabled all of these renovations and now this brand new concert hall that's just been open. And I've actually only spent about 5 minutes total in the concert hall so far, and it was just a quick stop on a tour. So I haven't yet been able to kind of experience that hall as a performer or as an audience member, but I'm very, very much looking forward to doing it. And that's absolutely, a fantastic gift to the university, but also to the whole city of Winnipeg that I think really will be a kind of a beacon, a cultural beacon, I think, in a lot of ways in the coming years.
What are some of the unique characteristics that you're bringing from your work at Mount Allison, both as an administrator and as a pianist, to the culture of music and art making here at the University of Manitoba?
Yeah, well, hopefully my experiences as a musician will serve me well. I think in a lot of ways, musicians have to develop many of the similar skills that a good administrator has. As a pianist, there are a lot of hours that are spent practicing by myself, but I have to be equally comfortable rehearsing with others. I have to manage both the commitments that I have, short term in terms of having things prepared, as well as looking long term to the next month or the next year's concerts and the next year's events. So some of those, the ability to multitask, to have many things on the go at once, is something that I think all musicians, particularly freelancers, certainly are dealing with on a regular basis. And all of those skills transfer, quite well to administration at the same, in similar ways. You're needing to deal always with the day to day, but also have an eye on the future and what's to come, and make sure you're well prepared for the next events and next challenges that are coming down the road.
Yeah. What attracted you to the U of M job in the first place? What did you see in our little university here in Winnipeg that made you think, maybe that's something I'd like to try for my next chapter?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't see it at all as a little university. The University of Manitoba is more than 10 times the size of my little university here at Mount Allison, right, where we have a student body of about 2,400 students in all programs. So absolutely, on the one hand, for me, it's a really exciting jump to a larger institution. It's great to be able to now have involvement with the graduate programs, both in music and in art and art history. I also love the flexibility and the diversity that the University of Manitoba's already the programs in art and music are already show. I know that artists are able to choose sculpture or to choose painting or to choose media studies or to choose video as their main focus, and the students are able to combine these in kind of personal ways. Similarly, our music students can choose to concentrate in classical music or in jazz and to combine those as well. And I'm really appreciative of the fact that the Faculty of Music is already reaching even beyond those traditional areas and has started a micro-credential in songmaking, for example. So these programs are already trying to attract larger and more diverse groups of students and learners. And I think that's really exciting to see. I can also say that I was born and raised in Saskatchewan, so I'm very familiar with the Prairie provinces. So it's wonderful for me to be able to come back home, so to speak, and to get closer to family and friends and where I grew up. Many of the musicians that I met growing up and performing in provincial and regional and national competitions when I was in Saskatchewan are now still active as musicians either there or in Manitoba. I have a number of colleagues that I went to school with or have performed with over the years who are now working either in Winnipeg or in the larger province. So I already have a lot of contacts and feel like the Prairies is really home and where my roots are. So it's a delight to be able to return.
Yeah, you have quite a wide-ranging set of responsibilities coming your way as the incoming dean, both of the School of Art and of the music faculty, which, as you've alluded to, is split in and of itself into a variety of streams, including between classical and jazz. As an example, how do you approach that challenge of managing so many different things?
Well, I mean, as I said, I think it's in many ways just an extension of my life as a musician, being able to be dealing with multiple issues at the same time. And, the last 11 years I've spent as the head of the department. I've been an administrator, but I've also been teaching a number of courses. I've had piano students, and then I've also kept up a performing career. So juggling a variety of different tasks is something that I think I've become accustomed to over the last few years. And also, I know going into my new role that there's a wonderful group of colleagues that are waiting for me in both music and art, faculty and staff, that are engaged and committed and dedicated and very excited about following through to the next steps in the development of these departments. And so I feel like I'll be in good company in terms of finding my footing. I can also say that I'm really excited about having the opportunity to learn more and to have my hands in the art world in a more formal way than I have. I've always been an art lover, and last time I mentioned when I was in Winnipeg that the last time I did art in any kind of formal way was I think my grade 12 art class, and my mom still has a few of my paintings hanging in her dining room. But apart from that, I've been an art lover rather than a practitioner. But I've always been very interested in the connections between visual art and music and how those two work together and how artists inspired musicians and vice versa. And I always love in galleries taking a look at where the painting was done and what year, and then thinking, well, who was writing music around that same time, and what would those artists have been listening to as contemporary music in their time. And I've always found that connection to be really fascinating. And I think one of the exciting things that now we have a possibility of maybe doing more of is some of that interdisciplinary work between art and music, now that the university has chosen to at least administratively combine the oversight of these two units into one office.
Yeah. Classic 107 listeners love that combination of the visual arts and music as well. We've enjoyed sharing in the last few days, as an example, the Portraits of the Children of Auguste Renoir by Jean Francais, as well as the Goyescas of Enrique Granados.
Beautiful.
As you start this role, maybe this is a bit of a galaxy brain question or something that is looking into the crystal ball, but where would you like to see the university in 5 years?
Well, I think there's a lot of momentum already. Like as I've said, given the new developments of the facilities, new renovations, and this new concert hall, I think there's a lot of excitement around music and art at the University of Manitoba. So I would love to continue that momentum. I think there's the opportunity for the university, for the campus, to become even more focal point for the larger Winnipeg community. I know that there are already a number of musical groups who are looking to perform and book concerts in the Desautels Concert Hall. I would love to open the campus up in a way that people from the beyond just the student body and the faculty feel like the university campus is a welcoming place and a place where they come to be engaged with not only with culture, with music, with art, but also of course with sports and with the sciences and with the larger university activities. And I think there's place for us to do that, really to even increase the role of the university to become a real key player in the community.
Let's get into those master plans to help make that sort of community engagement happen. What are some of the ideas that you're bringing to the table that you're excited to try out in this new role?
Well, the first step for me, coming from outside and not being familiar with the current practices and what is going well and what where we could improve, I think my first step really is just to get to know my colleagues and to figure out from their point of view what we're already doing very well, what can be improved, what we'd like to change. Always when someone new comes in, there's an opportunity there to have a moment of reflection on what's been going well in the past, but also an opportunity obviously to change directions as needed. So I'm trying to keep an open mind. As someone coming in from the outside world, I don't want to have two set plans, for day one. I think it's important that I get a sense of what's already happening on the ground, and to find out how best to, move the music and the art program into the next quarter of this 21st century, and to incorporate and to modify programs maybe as needed to reflect what students are interested in. I'm looking forward to getting a better sense of the types of students coming in and what their career goals are when they're looking to, enter the quote unquote real world following their time at the university, and just to make sure that all of us are preparing our students for their goals as best we can.
We talked about where maybe you'd hope to see the Faculty of Music and the Faculty of Art in the next 5 years. How do you think a role like this will impact your practice as a musician in the next 5 years?
Yeah, well, part of me thinks I'm probably not going to have as much time to practice as I might like, but that's fine. I'm used to that. I don't think anyone working at a university ever feels they have enough time to do the research or the creative work that they want to. It's part of the part of the job, and again, part of that juggling. But I am very much looking forward to being in Winnipeg because of the wonderful musical scene that is there. There's such a vibrant cultural community in Winnipeg, not just of musicians, but of artists and actors and all kinds of art. I know is such a key part of the fabric of the city, and I'm really looking forward to becoming a practicing member of that community of artists and of musicians. So I do hope absolutely to be able to keep my place at the piano a little bit, at least in the coming years.
Well, we look forward to welcoming you here to Winnipeg in earnest in the coming months. Do you already have a spot picked out in town for a living?
No, not yet. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. But that's on my list of to-do things. My to-do list for the next few weeks. Absolutely.
Sounds fun, and if we'll let you know if listeners chime in with some realting suggestions, as it were.
Sounds good.
Stephen Runge, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us here on Classic 107.
It's been a pleasure. I look forward to getting into town and to being a regular listener myself.